All right, what we want to do in this session is just look at our adult care group leaders and our Sunday school classes, because this is an important role. Our adult care group leaders actually are the persons responsible to see to it that the third task of our Sunday school, that is ministering to people, our three tasks, reaching people, teaching people, and ministering to people. The third task is to be literally carried out in a leadership capacity by our care group leader. And so that's the reason that we want to make sure that we understand what it is that we're about. You see, I believe if God sends his children here to our church, if God sends his children to your Sunday school class, I believe God expects us to take good care of them, don't you? This I know, the first mission trip I went on, my wife and I went together after we'd been here a year or so, and we went to Romania with Pastor Johnny. And before we left, a lot of things to get ready for us to fly to Europe. We'd never been to Europe, and obviously a lot to get ready, but the most important thing that we had to see to was who was going to take care of our kids while we were gone for those 9 days or so. At the time, they were 11, 13, and 15. And so that was the greatest care we had, was who was going to take care of our children. Now, the reason I was interested in that was only one reason. They're mine. I mean, I wasn't that burdened when you went out of the country, but I was burdened when I was going out of the country because those children were mine. Well, now, folks, if we feel that way about our own children, how does a holy God feel about his children? That he sends to us as a church, that he sends to you as Sunday school leaders. He cares about his children. And, you know, it could be that some classes and even some churches don't grow because they just don't take good care of God's children. Maybe they're teaching the Word, but maybe they're just not taking care of God's children. And I believe God sends his children where he can entrust the people to take care of them, don't you? In fact, Proverbs 27:23 says, "Be diligent to know the state of thy flocks, and look well to thy herds." And so the scripture gives us the admonition that we're to look well to the sheep that God sends us. So let me just walk you through the ministry description. That number one there is to be responsible to lead the class to effectively minister to people. You know, people are needy, aren't they? The reason we know people are needy is because we are. Everybody's needy. And because of that, everybody has needs, and everybody occasionally needs some help along life's journey. They need some support. They need some love. They need a prayer. They need a hug. Everybody along life's journey needs a little help because people are needy. So it's the care group leader's job to make sure that that class, and in particular their care group, ministers to people's needs. Secondly, we want to ask our care group leaders to actively participate in our church's outreach program, because it is the number one task of Sunday school to reach people, because Sunday school is the evangelistic arm of the church. We want to ask all the Sunday school leadership, whether that be a teacher, an outreach leader, or a care group leader, to be involved in outreach. Not only that, but outreach leaders, care group leaders, this gives you a good time to take some people in your care group to go visit someone that maybe's got a hurt. Maybe somebody that's in the hospital. Maybe somebody that hadn't been here in a while and just needs some encouragement. In fact, when you come, while you're doing that, the outreach leader may be going out with a team to visit some prospects for your class, while maybe you're going out to visit someone who's got a hurt or a need, or maybe they just need to get back in Sunday school because they hadn't been here in a while. So we want to encourage you to do that. The third thing that we would ask is that you aggressively pursue delinquent members of your care group and restore them to the fellowship. Now, I chose the word aggressively on purpose. We're not to passively pursue them. We're to aggressively pursue them. The reason is, do you know that there's a window of time, it seems, that we have to reach someone when they're out? Every week that goes by and they haven't been here, I want to say something, the harder it will be to restore them. And you know that as well as I do. Experience teaches you that. And so that's the reason I want to use the word aggressive. I mean, as soon as they start missing, we need to be making sure that we're contacting them, finding out how we can help, support, and all that. And so that's the reason I want to say that let's aggressively pursue them. In fact, I found when we wait too long, it's usually too late. Too long equals too late in most cases. And therefore, let's aggressively pursue those that are not here. Number 4 is is to lead the members of your care group to contact absentees on a weekly basis. I'm going to say more about this in just a minute, but you see, every care group is to be responsible for those in their care group. This care group A, is not responsible for the people in care group B. Care group B is responsible for the people in care group B. That's the reason it's set up that way. And so it's important that every care group leader contact their absentees on a weekly basis. And that doesn't mean the care group leader has to do all of it. It just means the care group leader has to see that it's done, and everybody ought to have a contact. In fact, think about this a minute. If every adult in an adult Sunday school class every Sunday left with one person to contact, just make one contact. Now, folks, that's not a hard thing for any of us to do, to make one call a week. Can you imagine what would happen in a year's time if every adult left every Sunday and contacted one person? A 2 or 3 minute phone call a week in a year's time. The cumulative effect of that would be mind-boggling if we could ever fathom what that would be. And so that's the reason we want to ask our care group leaders, you have every person in your care group every Sunday leave with somebody to contact that's on your roll that's not there. Number 5, we want to ask you to attend the Sunday school leadership meetings every month that we have. We feel like it's important for our team to come together once a month for instruction, for inspiration, for coordination of scheduling and strategy and all of that. And so we're going to ask you to be here along with your teacher and your outreach leader. Number 6, we want to ask you to attend a monthly class planning meeting with your teacher, outreach leader, secretary, whatever. Even as we need to come together once a month as a total Sunday school leadership team, I believe every class ought to have a monthly meeting to where they get together and they plan the work of that Sunday school class. Hey, every team needs to huddle up. And so it gives a chance for everyone to huddle up and coordinate and communicate the ministry of that class. Number 7 is we want to ask the care group leader to lead out in the 20-minute care group time on Sunday morning. As you know, we try to divide our time up on Sunday morning, so the outreach leader gets 10 minutes, so the care group leader gets 20 minutes, and so the teacher gets 30 minutes. And again, I want you to understand this. It's real simple, but task number 1 of Sunday school is to reach people. That's the reason the outreach leader needs a 10-minute time. Task number 2 is to teach people. That's the reason the teacher needs a 30-minute time. Task number 3 is minister to people. That's the reason the care group leader needs a 20-minute time. I'm telling you, all 3 tasks ought to get some air time during prime time. And if all 3 tasks are not given any air time, eventually, if they're not given that, they will just fade off the scene because it'll be out of sight, out of mind. And that's the reason we want to make sure all 3 tasks have coverage on Sunday morning. So we want to ask you to lead that 20-minute care group time. Care group leaders, you must say, what am I going to do during that 20-minute time? Well, we're glad you asked. So here we go. 4 things we want you to do on Sunday mornings during your care group time. Number 1, take the attendance. That's the reason we print our rolls by care groups, so that every care group leader can walk in their care group, and during that 20-minute, the first thing we want them to do is actually take the attendance. Who's there, who's not there. Then the second thing we want the care group leader to do is assign contacts. That's the reason we want you to take the roll, so you're forced to see who's not there that day. And when you see as the care group leader that someone's not there, then you know to tell someone who is there, you got their name, address, and phone number, you got the roll. So what you do is you just say, hey, Sue, Betty's been out a couple of weeks. Would you call her this week and check on her? Well, she's got to say yes, or she's going to seem unspiritual. Amen? She's got to say yes. So when she does, you just give her a phone number and let her call her that week. Hey, Bill, John's not, he's out. Somebody need to check on John. Bill, would you call? Here's his phone number. Folks, everybody can make a call. And that's the reason we want you to take the roll, because I don't know how else to say it, but to say it, we want it in your face every week who's not there and who needs a contact. The third thing we want to ask you to do during that 20-minute period is to discover ministry needs and then determine how we're going to go about meet those needs. Somebody having surgery? Okay, who's going to be at the hospital? Somebody's going to had a death in the family? Who's going to take the chicken casserole over? Whatever. But people have needs. And during that 20-minute period, it gives us a chance to talk about the needs of the people in our care group, as this care group's going to talk about the needs in their care group and how they're going to meet them, and as this care group's going to do likewise. Folks, the power of this is phenomenal, because you see, we have to work at being a small church because we're a big church, and people don't like big churches. And how do you become a small church? Personal touches, personal ministry, personal care, personal contact. That's the reason we want people to leave with a contact to make. That's the reason we want to talk about how we make touches on people's lives and minister to them during this 20-minute period.